Good evening, everyone. I call this regular meeting to order at 6:36 p.m. Commissioner Cabot, can you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Certainly. Stand and put your right hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Adrian, can you please call roll?
Yes. Chair Velasquez, Vice Chair Huerta,
Present.
Commissioner Cabot,
Present.
Commissioner Cordero, and Commissioner Shipp.
Present.
Thank you. Are there any objections to the agenda order? Hearing none, the agenda order is approved.
Tonight's meeting is live streamed on Cable Channel 3 and our online platforms. Please email all public comments to the Community Services Department at cscommission@sgch.org no later than the time the item is considered by the Commission tonight. Comments will be read for up to 3 minutes each. Comments received after the end of the public comment section will be forwarded to the Commission after the meeting. If you wish to be added to our distribution list to receive Commission agendas, please email your request to cscommission@sgch.org.
This is a time set aside for members of the public to address the Community Services Commission on items of interest that are not on the agenda, but are within the subject matter jurisdiction of the Commission. Pursuant to the Brown Act, the Community Services Commission cannot answer any questions or take any action until such time as the matter may appear as an item on a future agenda. Christina, do we have any public comments for tonight's meeting?
No, we do not.
Thank you. Next, we will approve the minutes. The minutes are a record of the official actions taken at the Community Services Commission meeting. Christina, do we have any public comments on the action item?
We do not.
We do need a motion to approve this.
The time for public comment on this item is now closed. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of April 4th, 2022?
Also move.
I will second.
Thank you. Adrian, please take the vote.
Vice Chair Huerta,
Aye.
Commissioner Cabot,
Aye.
Commissioner Cordero is absent. Commissioner Shipp.
Aye.
Motion passed by a vote of 3 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, and 2 absent.
Thank you. Discussion items. Discussion and development of annual work plan.
Good evening, Commission. So I have provided our report here for discussion and development of our annual work plan. Our work plan is intended for the 2022 calendar year. Commissioners will have an open and constructive dialogue to develop a plan that best fits in alignment with the purpose and scope of the Community Services Commission, as well as San Gabriel's mission. So our commission was established in 1949 by the San Gabriel City Council. This Community Services Commission serves as an advisory board to Community Services Department and consists of 5 civically engaged residents appointed by the City Council. The powers and duties as listed in the city's municipal code are as follows. Subject to the approval of council, the Community Services Commission shall have the power and duty to perform all acts required of it by laws of the city and state pertaining to the Community Services Commission. On April 4th, 2022, our Community Services Commission approved a scope and purpose. The purpose goes as follows. The purpose of the Community Services Commission is to creatively and inclusively explore ways in which the Community Services Department can enrich the quality of life for residents of the City of San Gabriel by providing equitable access to dynamic programs, services, and spaces that strengthen community connection and engagement. The scope of the commission is as follows. The Community Services Commission serves as an advisory body to the Community Services Department and City Council and functions as a liaison between residents and city government. It is the responsibility of the Community Services Commission to advocate on behalf of the San Gabriel community and to ensure that the Community Services Department's programs, services, spaces, and events advance the Commission's purpose. So the purpose of the annual work plan is to help highlight areas that are determined to be the primary focus for the year. The annual work plan shall include current and future projects, programs, and activities of the Community Services Commission. It is intended as a summary of the Commission's progress towards achieving its purpose. The 2022 areas of focus. So the strategic plan for the Community Services Department, which was developed in 2015, includes strategic directions. The strategic directions are the department's 5 most critical areas of focus and will serve as the 5 key areas to develop the Commission's work plan. These areas are as follows. 1, to create new innovative programs and services to engage the entire community. 2, connect the entire community to enhance quality of life. 3, embrace and celebrate community diversity. 4, plan and create new and enhance open spaces, parks, and community facilities. 5, develop innovative resources and tools to achieve our mission. So our recommendation, the staff recommends that the Commission review the 2022 work plan's areas of focus and discuss items to be included in the annual work plan to be submitted to City Council. The work plan will either be approved or revised by the Council. Staff will compile the thoughts expressed at the meeting and bring back to the Commission a draft of an annual work plan for further discussion at next meeting. So we have included the Community Services Department Strategic Plan and the Year Commission's 2022 Annual Work Plan. Thank you.
Does any commission member have factual questions for staff to clarify the report? No questions? Okay. Christina, do we have any public comments on the action item?
We do not.
The time for public comment on this item is now closed. Okay. In looking at the 5-year strategic plan, our section has the goals and objectives, or I'm sorry, goals, action steps, and priorities that were drafted. Will staff be taking any items from here and highlighting those that have already been accomplished? Are we just focusing on new items for the work plan?
It can be a combination of both. So the difference between the strategic plan is, if you think about it, the strategic plan is for our department. What we're looking for is an annual work plan for the commission. Now, some items may be similar, and we're both going to be working towards our purpose because the work plan areas of focus are exactly the same. Our areas of work plan are the same as what we're proposing that the commission focus on as well. So there may be similar items, but again, we're looking to see how we can get the commission involved to come together for this work plan and to be able to have input from the commission to be able to achieve our goals.
Okay. Okay, so I'm going to start. We look at the first area of focus, which is programs and services. I think we have healthy programs and services in the city of San Gabriel. And I think that I don't feel like I can add any more suggestions to programming or services beyond what we have, except for a couple of items, and I don't know whether they fall under new programs and services or if it would fall under the area of how to connect the community. So a couple of them, as I was looking through our brochure that goes out, the grapevine that goes out, services such as transportation. I know that we have dial-a-ride services available for our residents, and I was wondering if we've ever thought about having a pop-up event about the transportation services that we have for our community members. And it's not even a pop-up event all by itself, but maybe a pop-up tent that goes up at one of our city events, or we would find a space where that would seem like it fits. Other cities, I don't remember where I saw it, but they had a transportation expo, or like a tent where representatives from the different areas of transportation are present in different languages, and it's kind of geared towards the aging community and those people that don't have their own car but want to make their way around. So that was something I thought that was an idea. I didn't know where it fits, but it could be under our services as an added, I don't know, part of the program or how we reach people. Anyone else under programs or services that we have?
Well, no, but I do like that idea, because we have a lot of people that, rely on other transportation.
Means of transportation.
And don't know about it. On that respect, you could expand it not only from dial-a-ride, but other transportation. People could come maybe.
Metro
Right, Metro, even Uber or taxi, something, so they know they have some other options. I think that's a good idea.
Especially for the older people.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
We do have an emergency preparedness program, don't we, within the city of San Gabriel? I think.
We do.
And it involves community services, and we have cooling centers, and isn't that stuff that we get out to our community as well? Okay. So all these ideas we can just check off the list because we're already doing them. And I was thinking about emergency notification system, but I think that community services has done a really good job in being part of the city's beat and the newsletter and the Instagram and all of those ways of reaching the community. So we're really good in that area. Another idea as I was walking through Huntington Library was, do we have any hiking outings or maybe a walking club, something to bring people together? I know we don't have a big park, but we do have Smith Park and Vincent Lugo. And if we were to get together people who want to exercise together or walk together, or just especially those individuals that are retired and have more time on their hands than the rest of us who go to a job 9 to 5. But it's also, I thought it's a good way of grandparents connecting, those who may be watching their grandkids, and they can get out and, maybe just create some community that way as well.
I think, it wasn't in the grapevine that there is a walking group? I don't remember how often.
Yeah, we currently just started a walking group.
Nice. See?
In the community services department. Along with that, we have not had, I know there was a suggestion about hiking. There has not been any hiking. We do offer excursions. I know that's a little off, but yeah, we are currently starting a walking program.
And it's in the mornings,
great.
correct?
Correct,
Yeah.
yes.
The other thing I might suggest, if we're going to be doing that, make sure that it's available to handicapped people, especially seniors that use walkers, wheelchairs, whatever. They need to have access to these things as well.
I think Vincent Lugo does a good job of
Do
that.
they?
I think our park has decomposed granite in walkways that are conducive to walkers and to other means.
Yeah, I'm just thinking that we need to get the word out to these people
Yes.
that we are having a group walk, and please don't feel you can't come if you were, handicapped in any way. Yeah.
And then lastly, the services I was thinking about was really geared towards our aging community. And I read about this in a newsletter I got for the city of LA, where they were trying to collaborate with companies or businesses, organizations that provide tracking, some kind of a tracking device, especially for families who have older relatives that are in memory care. I mean, we know that how expensive memory care is, so I can speak for the Latino community. We're really not about putting our older relatives in care, but we could try and work with businesses that, and like I said, companies, organizations that have these tracking systems for older people. That's something I would be willing to kind of help with, or try and connect with any kind of an organization that offers that.
That's a good idea.
Those were a couple of suggestions that I had.
Well, I think the suggestions that Chair has made are excellent, because the vision of the commission has really changed over the years.
Sure.
Used to be called strictly Parks and Rec, right?
Mm.
And now we are expanding to actually services for people.
Yes.
And those ideas are excellent. Services commission.
And I think that the staff, the community services staff, does a great job as far as health is concerned. I think you've made wonderful connections with USC Medical and Herald Christian Services. I mean, they provide those gaps between people who are insured, people who are uninsured, and people who don't qualify for any kind of government services. So as I started to go through programs and services that we offer, and maybe where we can enhance, but I think overall we have a healthy, I don't know if you would call it agenda, but I think we have a healthy services that we provide.
Yeah, I think so too.
We could move on, or do you have a
If I
comment?
may?
Yes.
I have two ideas. One is the Moon Festival I mentioned in the last commission meeting. I would like that I think that one belongs to the key element one, create an innovative program, which this festival will bring unity and a family together. It's just like a spring festival, but it's like toward the middle of the year, so it's kind of like far apart from the spring festival. And then it's another opportunities for the community members to come out and enjoy the food and entertainment in maybe in the Mission District. And that's a great location, and then also we can promote the business around there. The second idea is farmers market, if possible. I know that Alhambra has it and Rosemead has it, but I just don't see why not we cannot have one. Like Mission District, like flea market, farmers market, like we can do it all together. I know we have flea market before, but like once a year or something, but we can make it more regular, on a more regular schedule. So for those, let's see, those families who's relying on the small businesses who can come out and promote for their little stuff that they're making by hand, or they're purchased from local small stores. That's the two ideas I have add to the first key element.
Let me ask the staff, would they belong to the first one, or would they be part of our, the Moon Festival would be part of our Celebrate Community Diversity?
I think it counts to that one as
That
well.
one?
Yeah.
And then connect community. So we did try farmers market in the past at Vincent Lugo. I think that it was a different time. It was pre-COVID, but certainly a time when prices were high and the buy-in wasn't where it needed to be. I think post-COVID, everyone has been locked up, and now everyone's eager to get out and reconnect. And so I agree with you. We should try it, see if it's cost effective, if it makes sense, if we can find someone to come into the city of San Gabriel.
Can I comment on that, please? And then council members have approached me and said put in a farmer's market, and it's not that easy. First of all, you have to have a place. You have to have a day or a time or an evening that isn't taken by another city. And some of these farmers markets have been established for a very long time. Then to get vendors is not an easy thing, and they usually want a guarantee of how much am I going to make, how much space am I going to have. Right now, we really don't have a very good place for it. Now, if they're considering, and I think they are considering repaving the parking lot, that would be an ideal place, because then people can get to it. And as Terry mentioned a couple weeks ago, that we're hoping that the Mission will now be a tourist attraction. We have the Blossom. So between those two bookends, if that is repaved, then it would be an excellent location. That being said, you still have to find the vendors willing to come. I mean, I think it's a great idea and a lot of people would like it, but it's not that easy to do.
100%.
Yeah.
Agree. Yes. Rebecca, were you going to comment?
Yes, good evening, Commissioner. I was going to make a couple comments, and then I thought maybe I'll just wait until the end. But a couple comments, we did have a farmer's market at Vincent Lugo Park. It is very challenging to find a vendor that wants to do the market, and as I learned with that process, very difficult to find farmers that are willing to go to all these various markets as well. That is something that's been brought up again since then, and I'll be honest, our vendor that we were working with essentially kind of left us, so it was not a choice that we made for the vendor and the farmers market to leave. It was a choice that the vendor made. So that would be something that we'd have to explore again, and whether or not there would be a vendor that would want to come do that, and whether or not there are adequate farmers. And it may be a different situation post-COVID. The other thing I was going to mention, Vice Chair Huerta mentioned the transportation services and kind of a pop-up idea. We have not been good about bringing to the commission. We actually have a new program that we're going to be starting in addition to Dial-A-Ride for a microtransit program. And so that this would really be a great opportunity for us. We will need to promote this to the community because it's going to be open to not only our seniors and disabled population, and Dial-A-Ride will still continue to be the same program that it is for those for that population, but we will also have microtransit open to, I say anyone in the community, but we haven't quite set up those parameters yet as to what that's going to look like. But it will be with the same vehicles, but it will be open. It'll be utilizing the bus stops and virtual bus stops within the community. So that will be starting probably in the next, I'm going to say probably in the next 5 months. We're getting started with that now. Council just recently approved that. So we will definitely need to promote that, and so that will be a good opportunity for us to do that at our future events to get word out about that.
Wonderful.
So, yeah.
It'll just enhance what we already have in place.
Yeah.
Great. And thank you, Commissioner Shea, for your suggestions. I think they fit nicely. I'm really looking forward to, I've never heard about the Moon Festival, so I'm really excited to hear about that. Flea market, I know that Mission has that parking lot on the corner of Broadway and Santa Anita, and we have oftentimes contemplating putting a flea market together, but we don't have that. We don't have the luxury of a big staff. So it's pretty comprehensive to book everyone, make sure, you know, it is, the vendors are something that the community would want to, would be receptive to, because you'd hate to have a vendor there that really doesn't fit or isn't a good fit, and then they lose money too. But flea markets are a challenge. It might be something that Mission might collaborate with the city on. Certainly it'd be ideal because it is empty on the weekends. We only use it for parking during the week, so it's something that we can think about. But I think our calendars are pretty full, everyone's calendar, so that would be a challenge too. Okay.
May I make a quick comment? That's the other thing that would concern me when you said our calendar is pretty full. That would just put another burden on staff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we have an amazing staff, and but they already do so much. And when we had to have drive-through pickup for groceries and meals and COVID supplies, that really put an extra burden on staff. These were things that were added to the regular agenda. So that's another thing to consider for a farmer's market, because as Chair said, they're going to have to constantly track and contact and organize. So not that I wouldn't want a farmer's market, I just think we need to consider all the pros and cons before we say, yeah, we're going to put up a farmer's market. Thank you.
Okay. In that second focus area, connect community to enhance quality of life. Maybe it's not so much. Well, there will always be the opportunity to grow and expand the services, the programming, the events that we can offer on community services. But perhaps it's more of how do we connect the community. Maybe it's a community services department pop-up event. Maybe it's its own day of, hey, why don't you come by and really learn about the services that we offer, and we make it somewhere in the Mission District parking lot of the Playhouse is always a good central location, or even in front of the Playhouse itself. It could be done, and there are a lot of families that don't know, a lot of parents who are working parents, and maybe they take their children somewhere else for daycare or for babysitting, and so it would be a good way for us to reach them too, and say, you know, these are the events and upcoming events that we support, or the programming after school that we support. And so maybe a pop-up event is a way to do it. I text Rebecca on Saturday because I participated in the Mission to Mission bicycle ride, and it's very different to see the streets on a bike when there's no one around, and as opposed to today when we got on the street, and I told my husband, it looks really different in a car now. But what I liked about the event was that each of the cities, South Pass, Alhambra, San Gabriel, had organizations there and that are part of the community. And so when you have pop-ups, when people see, oh great, you know, let's go to this event, let's find out what's going on in our own city, it builds community. So I don't know that we have to reinvent the wheel in this focus, but certainly ways in which we can reach the community and make them more and more aware. I mean, we could work on that.
I think that might be a good idea. Never thought of that, but people always say, well, what is community services? They don't know. We'll say, well, it used to be park and rec. Oh, okay. But then they think that's all we do is park activities. And community services is so much more, especially since we had to deal with the COVID pandemic. So I like that idea. We have so many events, but we never have anything that says, here's community services, here's what we do. I think we need to let people know that. Good idea. I like that.
Thank you. Third focus, embrace and celebrate community diversity. You guys do a great job of bringing those events here, and certainly Commissioner Shea's suggestion for a moon festival is really wonderful as well. We talk about the way I see this focus, community diversity and celebrating it and embracing it. We have the big ones. We have 4th of July, we have Cinco de Mayo, we have Chinese New Year. I know that we have maybe not a large Muslim community, but we do have a Muslim community. And I don't know if there is any kind of an event where they celebrate their religion or they celebrate their culture. Ramadan. We could invite them to consider having an event, even if it's small, but we certainly pride ourselves on being a city that is diverse and embracing our culture. And I know that right now we have, through the city, we have a, my goodness, it just went out of my head. My pastor, Father John, is part of it. Interfaith. What are they called?
Interfaith Council, I think.
Something like that.
Could you expand on that a bit?
So our city manager started this, I want to say it was during COVID, and that was because many of the groups were gathering or were providing different services during, again, I think it was during COVID that it was started. And so I'm not sure, to be honest, how often they meet, and I believe they may still be meeting on Zoom.
They did an in-person
meeting
at the Mission in our rectory office, but I think it was right before COVID hit when they began.
So it's just an opportunity for them to share services that they're providing, and I know during COVID we definitely connected with the Mosque of San Gabriel, and they have helped us provide various services, and they have connections with some food services, and we've connected with the Mission about that as well, food services, and so there are a variety of groups that we've connected with, the city has connected with, but it's an opportunity for those groups to also connect and share with what they're offering.
So perhaps we could invite them, maybe just have a round table and see if they're open to that.
That's a good idea. I know that this is also an opportunity to work more closely with the HERE Commission, with the diversity end of it. And I know at their last meeting they had who is the speaker for the big international organization that provides food?
For LA Regional Food Bank?
No,
The
it's,
speaker that they had was from ICNA.
yeah, ICNA, that's right.
Which is the group that we've connected with,
Right.
with the Muslim, with the mosque.
And
they provided a variety of food services.
Commissioner Khan, who's on the HERE Commission, is an important person in the San Gabriel Mosque, and he would be a good connection. I think he connected us with them, with ICNA. Again, if we're working with community diversity, this might be a good opportunity to work more closely with the HERE Commission, because that's what they really want to do, is focus on diversity.
Sure, but I think that we can also.
I like the idea of connecting with the mosque.
And then, of course, the Native American community.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
I think we have a really good relationship. The mission has a good relationship with Chief Anthony Morales and the San Gabriel Band of Mission Indians, the Tongva Band.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
But there are others, and I think it's an opportunity to learn about because while we are the mission, and we did have in the beginnings of the mission period, we did have that relationship with the Native American tribes that were in the area. Many people don't know that we don't have that written history here. That's all archival, and it's in the Archdiocesan archives. But there have been researchers and historians and other people who have done the work, have done the legwork about those tribes that lived not just in the mission, but around the area, in the San Gabriel Valley, really. So it would be a good opportunity to focus on all the different communities, families, tribes that are of Native American descent. So it's something else we can certainly invite them to come and plan an event, even though they're probably working with the HERE Commission on more, on digging in deeper on.
But then again, we can get involved with HERE Commission on this because it
Sure.
can coincide, and I like your idea. Where we would fit it in, I'm not sure, but I think it's a good idea to have an opportunity for all these different cultures to have a table, have a booth, something.
An event.
Certainly
an event.
Or a whole event just about all the diversity. Not, of course, finding time for that again is
Sure.
a problem. But I like your idea of enhancing our knowledge about all these different organizations, cultures.
Well, the good thing is to come together and collaborate and brainstorm, and it works itself out. So that's number 3. Number 4, plan and create new open spaces, parks, and community facilities. Well, we're only 4.2 square miles.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if Community Services Department or City Council has identified any new spaces that can be explored as far as parks. Or I know we did a great job over the past few years, that new little pop-up park that's behind Roosevelt Elementary, and then Marshall, the park there. But I don't know, maybe Rebecca, if City Council or if Community Services has identified any spaces, or are we kind of tapped out?
I don't have any news on new spaces, but we will have an item coming to the commission in June. We have some requests for space at Smith Park, and
Nice.
various groups that are wanting to come forward or coming forward with ideas of what they'd like to see at Smith Park. And we're very limited with space there and limited with funds, but we do have some different groups, like I said, that are coming forward that have some ideas of things that they'd like to see. So we will be presenting that to the commission and getting your feedback, and then taking that ultimately to the city council. So I think this can be considered obviously new parks, which would be great, but also enhancing the space that we currently have. And we are always on the lookout for new grant opportunities and new ideas that we have that, or new things that come forward that we can present to possibly get grant funding to be able to put into our existing parks as well.
Thank you. And would you say that our community services facilities, we haven't outgrown them, or you think we're okay?
Oh, we've far outgrown them.
So is that something that
it would be something that eventually we definitely
will tackle?
We're kind of always on the lookout for what might happen with our facilities. But yes, we definitely, obviously with COVID, things have not been meeting in person, for example, our senior programs, but they will be returning in person, likely in May. And we'll see how things have grown. I know our senior programs during COVID have grown exponentially, so we'll see how many people come in person and whether or not those numbers continue. But we definitely are on the lookout for what we might be able to do with new space for our centers as well.
And I don't know if while I have you, I don't know if the Playhouse falls in any of these categories. It's still under community services, or will it?
It is. It's not included. There's a couple of items included in the strategic plan because that's been a more recent addition to combine the two departments. But there are some spaces that we're looking at. For example, at the Playhouse, we are looking at, there's what had been a rehearsal hall and a rehearsal space. We're looking to keep that as a rehearsal hall, but also create a small theater, and you will actually see that in the strategic plan. Because the size of the theater that the Playhouse is such a large theater that many groups either can't afford that space or don't need that much space, and so this would be a smaller space that would be available, and that funding was actually received through the Shuttered Venue Operators Grant, and so we're looking to use some of those funds, and the council has approved that. So it's just a matter of making that happen. It would be a small theater, very small, like 100 people. So a space though that groups that, a dance facility in the city that might want to have a recital, or a music facility that might want to have a recital, would be able to rent that space to have their recital or their event there. So
Where is that located? Where would it be located?
It's at the back of the Playhouse, on the closest to the parking lot. On, I guess it would be like the north side of the Playhouse.
Okay.
So in the back, at the back corner, there's an entrance there.
Oh, yeah.
So there are some areas that we're having to make some accessibility changes, and then looking at we're looking at having a portable stage, so it could be used still as a rehearsal hall, because that is used still to this day as a rehearsal space, and so we want to be able to keep it for that, but also have it available for this purpose.
It certainly expands your
Mm-hmm.
users.
And then hopefully be able to create like a community programming space as well, to have community theater and that sort of a thing. So a smaller space which translates into the recreation side of things, to be able to have community theater type programs as well.
That was part of the strategic plan.
Yep.
Great, that's great. Great news.
And then I have an add-on to the create a new open space. In addition to the Smith Park, if we can add a dog park or a dog hanging area, that would be awesome. But I know the limits of our space in San Gabriel. But that's just a lovely idea for the dog lovers like myself. And then another thing is rubber running trail. I know Mesa Park has it.
Yes.
They have a really big one, but it's always packed with people. I know Gabriel High School has it, but I don't know if that's accessible to the public. Washington Elementary School, and the other school on the north side, and I don't think they have the rubber running trail, and there are just soil and grass, and it would be lovely to have a rubber running trail for the community to work out and walking or running along, and then that's just going to be a improvement to our current park space.
That's a good suggestion. I think we'll leave it to staff to kind of explore that, because that would kind of entail public works and even feasibility of adding something like that. It's interesting that you bring that up, because I was in East LA and they had a rubber running trail around a cemetery. Yeah, and who knows?
Well, if you have space, that's a good space.
Who knows?
Space, I
Maybe
guess.
Mission. Maybe Mission. It's something to think about.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Shea.
You're welcome.
Fifth focus, develop innovative resources and tools to achieve our mission. I was looking through the strategic plan and ways in which the public was reached prior to this, putting the strategic plan together. A lot of surveying in person at different events, online, and other ways of reaching people. And I think that the newsletter that's put out by Community Services is great. I don't know what the database looks like, how many people actually receive it, but that is always going to be something to improve upon. How you retrieve data, and I'll share with you firsthand that it's hard for people to lend themselves to receiving stuff via email, and getting them to focus and fill it out. Even if we were to say, okay, let's try and reach our stakeholders when they attend the event that they're attending. It's hard because people are so focused on what they're seeing and experiencing, they're not going to take the time to do this. However, if we were to have, like we said, like I suggested, a pop-up, people can come and not only learn about community services, but it's an engagement. We learn from them what they would like to see, and we engage them that way and say, this is great dialogue, but in order for us to provide what you really want, we have to continue this dialogue, and you're going to have to give us some information. And we build from that. Certainly surveys, like when you're at Disneyland and they stop and they say, excuse me, do you have 5 minutes to give, and you have very targeted questions. Yeah. I'm sure it will take somebody with an iPad or lots of us with an iPad. I'll sign myself up to do it. I don't mind. And just asking those questions, and then we take some data from there and improve our resources, or use that feedback to improve our resources. That was one of the things I thought about. Newsletters already in place, websites already in place, social media. That's a good way to disseminate. I don't know if it's a good way to get feedback.
Yeah, I don't know either. Let me just add, I've talked to Clara. She's our public information officer, a new one. And this is a concern for her, getting the information out to people, because so many of the people, especially the elderly, may not have a computer. Or if they do, they don't know how to use it properly. They don't care. They don't want to learn. And most of her information comes out that way. So I don't know the answer to that. That's a tough one. But so many of the people that really need the information, it's hard to get it to them. I think she's working on that. We might want to collaborate with her and see if she's got any ideas and work on that together. Just a thought.
Thank you, Commissioner Cabot. One experience that I'll add, and it kind of resonates with this particular way of reaching out to our residents. When the vaccines became available, and I was working with the community services, the staff to sign up people when at Smith Park, and I think also at the Playhouse. We were challenged because by we I mean the mission, the parish. We have ministries. I had a hard time finding our leaders. Who are the leaders? Who are the people that, and I'll give you an example, the Vietnamese. We have a very large Vietnamese community, and also a very large Latino community, charismatic group. They call themselves Brazos Abiertos. Both of those ministries change leaders every 6 months so that the community doesn't become stagnant and there's engagement and new ideas. But I guess it's trying to reach the leaders in the community that have access to
That's a challenge.
those yeah, it is. It's a huge challenge.
Well, and the language barriers are
Sure.
a challenge. Like
Sure.
you said, there's Vietnamese, there's Korean, there's all different Asian dialects. I have to say, San Gabriel is very good about always having it in different languages. But speaking to them at like these pop-ups, that's a tough one too, to let them know. Of course,
True.
if we have it written out in the different languages,
Mhm.
that's a good idea too.
And maybe that way we start to identify people in the community, or leaders come forward. We'll always have those leaders of different organizations within San Gabriel that are here, that are in attendance at city council meetings. And so it's also identifying them and making sure we're connecting with them so that we can, because now, like you've said, we've gone beyond being Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
Now we offer services. It's even more important and vital for us to be in contact with them.
I think one thing we might want to consider, and it wouldn't really change what we do, but connect more with the part of the city south of Valley. I think they always feel they're forgotten.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe they are somewhat. I mean, we don't reach out to that particular area as much, and maybe they don't know of all the services.
Sure.
I don't know if we would be holding an event in Marshall Park because that's in that area. But I do think we need to reach out to other parts of the city. So much of everything focuses right here.
Yes.
And rightfully so. This is the heart of our city, and this is where we have the facilities. But perhaps we need to reach out to another part of the city. We had a small event at La Casa, and it was very well received. And that's a different part of the city too,
Mhm.
so that they know we aren't forgetting you. We just have to find a way to reach out to them, I think.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I think that also speaks to us making a commitment in our work plan to host events that reach every community, every neighborhood that we can.
Yes, I agree.
And also, I think the community services already does a good job with connecting with the schools and working with the Unified School District to make sure that our families that have children in schools, in the elementary schools, high schools, are also aware of the services that are provided and connect with them that way.
You have a question maybe for Christina. How do you get the information to these different, is it through the schools primarily, about our all activities for kids?
So there's various ways we get this information out. One is through past participants. So we have a running list of participants who currently or who have previously participated in our programs. We typically reach out to them. So if they have participated in something, they're more likely to participate in the future. Another way is through our department newsletter. That has gone out to all residents, at least those on our mailing list. Another way is through our Grapevine Guide. We also work with our city PIO to advertise this information. Along with that, we've been working on having a really positive relationship with the school district. So we have existing programs with the school district in the various schools, and some of those are existing, and we typically promote those within each individual school. And so they assist us in promoting our programs.
Yeah, because I know you have after-school programs at all the different things.
That makes
Is that how
sense.
you also promote some of the big events in addition to that, or no?
So prior to COVID, yes, we would, the school district would actually would allow us to give out paper flyers. Since the pandemic and more recently, that's not something that they have been doing. But we have a list of those participants who are in our programs. And I will say there have been some schools, individual schools that do allow us to either give them the information they post on their website, and the school district has also done a great job of putting our flyers on their website as well. So those are a few various ways that we help promote through the school district, but really it's those partnerships that we have with the individual schools and our relationship with the principals at each school site.
What kind of a response do you get from the Grapevine? I mean, that goes out to every household. Is that where you feel you get, have you ever tracked that? Do most people use that?
So we previously, when the strategic plan went out, that was our primary, I'm going to say, it was the way we got out information for our program, was a Grapevine Guide. And that was pre-pandemic. During the pandemic, we actually relied heavily on the online version of our guide because it was no longer being mailed out, and we also relied heavily on our e-newsletter for our department. So currently, since things have calmed down a bit, and we actually mailed out our spring guide, and we've also mailed out our summer guide. We're kind of doing a combination of both, mailed guide and then monthly newsletter that is sent out.
Overall, you seem to fill most of those activities, don't you, pretty quickly, a lot of them?
Well, it depends. The free programs, we definitely fill. The programs, our events, especially since the pandemic has ended, have seen a lot more participation. During the pandemic, we did family game nights. Those, again, were free events, and we got a ton of, I'm going to say we had waiting lists for a lot of our programs. So.
Are you going to continue any of those virtual ones, or just not? You probably don't need them now, huh? The family events, I know there was really a good response for those because it was an outlet for them.
So we've shifted gears to a bit more in-person events.
Okay.
But we are definitely still open. There hasn't been much discussion of online events, but we're definitely still open to offering those types of programs.
Thank you very much.
So do we feel like we have enough feedback on that fifth focus?
I have one more add to the tools, which is about the WeChat social platform that most Asian people use. I added our San Gabriel City WeChat account like last year around October, but I received my first post earlier this year, I think March something, around the time that Mayor Tony Ding was nominated to be the new mayor of the city, and that's the first post I received. And then I think recently I received another one, and I was wondering, like, the frequency of our social media posts on this Asian platform is not as frequent as it would be on the Facebook, I would say. um, I understand that they may have something to do with our staff in regards to like Asian language translation, and that's where I want to bring it up. If it's possible for us to have like internship program or youth program that we can recruit the young people in the community to be part of our community service department, to be active out there in their street or in their neighborhood, to be a speak person for our department to promote our programs, and also about neighborhood watch. Does it every street has a neighborhood watch? Would they be a good person to be contact with if we would like to promote any information to the community?
Well, I know that Neighborhood Watch changed. Certainly, the program itself did not change, but National Light Out, which is really the event that brought your block captains and your leaders together to connect and then plan for National Light Out. It switched gears right after Chief Harris arrived, I believe. But it's certainly something that we can kind of explore further with the other departments that are heading it. Is it under, I'm going to ask Rebecca, is it under the police department? It is, because
Yes.
it is
Neighborhood Watch is through the police
through
department.
the police department.
There have, and I don't believe we've accessed that resource recently, but there have been opportunities for us to promote through those groups. So that's a good suggestion, that those are ways that we can help promote our programs is through the Neighborhood Watch, because those are active groups. I'm not sure if they're less or more active since COVID, but I believe that those groups are still connecting, and so that'd be a good way for us to promote through them.
Right. That way we can have a deeper reach to the community.
Well,
to the
Right.
streets.
So it's not a program through our department.
Not through community
but
services.
We can
connect,
collaborate
we
somehow.
can connect with police to help promote that information. For example, for events or for different programs, we can promote that information through there, or
Well,
we have been able to in the past, I should say.
I'll share with Commissioner Shea. So on our block, we were neighborhood, we were watch captains. So we did know everybody on our street, and that we would have, who was the officer before Stacy Gutierrez? I think Officer Alex. He wasn't an officer, but he was the one who ran the program. It is a good way for community members to come together to know each other. It was more about finding out who your neighbors were, talking to them, knowing them, knowing their families, and coming together and like we did on our block. I mean, I know that there were blocks that had a block party. They brought in jumpers and bands, and that's the type of neighborhoods that we had in the past before it got moved to a more central area, which is now at the Playhouse. And I can say from experience, my neighbors, when we moved in the 90s, my neighbors were retired, but now they're aging. And so I always saw the Neighborhood Watch program. It's a resource for neighbors to know neighbors and watch out for each other. And I laughed because my daughter our neighbor across the street would call my husband and say, "Is there supposed to be a boy at your house right now?" They'd be sitting out on the porch. But that's what it was focused to do.
Right.
Certainly, I think it's a good way for neighbors to meet neighbors. But we can talk about collaborating with the police department on ways to get information out. And it's interesting that you bring up WeChat. So Mission San Gabriel, we have a Facebook page, we have an Instagram page, and a website, and I manage all of them. And I will share with you my struggles on how we post. So the post has to be very, we have to be very cautious what we post, how we post, because it is social media. And I always feel like there are the mediums that if people want to learn about something, they're going to go to our website. If they want to know about the history of San Gabriel, they're going to go to our website. If they want to learn about, if I want the public to know something about an artifact or a painting or something that would pique someone's interest, that's when I would post something on Instagram or I would post something on Facebook. I don't know enough about WeChat to I know that it's a social media platform that helps you kind of bridge countries. But beyond that, I'd be interested to learn, and it'd be something that we can talk about. But I think that we also have to be conscious of it's social media. There are fine lines that we have to stay within when we start to post stuff on social media. But I think it's something that we should explore, especially thinking about non-English speaking community. They're not going to go to our websites or our Facebook pages. They're going to go to something where they can grab those information nuggets.
Exactly. My experience with WeChat, I use it to do daily communication, but also that's where I get news from, and get official notifications from those they will have some official accounts who will announce news or activities, and then that's where I will get those information from. And also they will have some groups, like San Gabriel will have San Gabriel groups, and then have San Gabriel residents in that group, and we share information, share community activities in the group, so we can have our residents to be more participated in the events. So
well, it's something to kind of talk through. It's definitely something we could talk through.
Yeah. I would say it's definitely the most popular platform for Asian people. So definitely should be a focus on our social media promotion.
I think it's a good idea because I know the Asian community does rely on WeChat a lot to share information and to stay in touch. That would be a good way to get our message out. But again, like Chairman Orta said, we've got to have somebody that is willing to translate it.
Right.
Yeah. And again, maybe that could be an intern. I don't know.
Right.
I don't think this time we have anybody on staff that can do that.
I know that here commission right now, they're not here commission, the city council, their city agenda is translated to different languages, Vietnamese, Chinese, and they actually have a group of people working behind the scenes to do those translations, and they are actually native speakers.
That may be a government requirement or something like that. I mean, city government.
The city is required, I think.
That's what I would imagine, but now we're getting into murky waters. I don't know, but it's something that we will explore as community services.
Yeah, sure. And then the community internship program, right? We can get some young students or high school kids who can speak those languages to help us on the social media translation, and I think they will be more than happy to participate in
college students? Because
high school.
College students probably have more maturity.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But we just need a supervisor, right, to overseeing what kind of translation they're doing and give high school kids a chance. I don't think they will. I think definitely they want the opportunity to improve themselves and to more engage with the real work.
I have a question about WeChat. Are there several different dialects on there or not?
I know there are a lot of different dialects.
Chinese, there's so many different dialects.
Yeah. Some of them I don't even. Okay. Most of them I don't even understand.
Primarily it would be just
Mandarin, Cantonese,
okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Shea and Commissioner Cabot. Are we all done with our? That's a lot.
Yeah, we covered.
I think we covered a lot for this evening. So if I'm understanding correctly, from here we go to staff will collect what we've talked about and kind of clean it up, make it sound real nice and pretty, and then it would be presented to City Council. correct?
So moving forward from here, we're going to collect all the thoughts and the ideas and everything that was discussed tonight from the commission. And we are going to compile this information, and we're going to provide a draft to present to next commission meeting to the commissioners, and then we can evaluate it, take a look to see if there's anything we'd like to be more specific about, to see if we'd like to include something, what doesn't work. So that's the idea behind the draft. So the draft, and once it's approved by the commission, then that will be compiled and put together, and we will present it to the city council.
Okay.
Well, exactly, it's a draft, and that's what we need, because that's the opportunity for us to make changes. I mean, we're just getting started.
We are.
It is a whole new territory. Fortunately, Chair Huerta is really good at this because I am not. So I'm just
We're all learning. We're all
Well,
learning
you've done
together.
this a few
Have a little bit,
times,
but it's different when you take strategic planning to a city level, and when you're serving residents, and you have to remember, that this is a service, this is a volunteer position, and we want to make sure that we're serving everyone in our community.
Very well said.
Let's see. Okay, I feel good now. We can move on to the monthly department report. Staff will present an update pertaining to the monthly department report.